Hey everybody, it's Chris with the Meeples Market. I'm going to do a brief how to play and then my first impressions of 60 Second City, a two-player collaborative game by Buffalo Games and Puzzles. So let's open her up real quick. Okay. So setting up the game is super simple. If you can get the rule book out. Alright, let's see. This is the game board. You're going to need that. Remember, this game is only for two players, and it is a cooperative game. These are event cards, the red ones. For your first game, it's not recommended that you use them, but after you're familiar with the game, if you want to change things up a little bit, you basically reveal one of these at the start of each round, and they either give like a good thing or a bad thing that could happen and changes up how you play the game. So outside of that, we're not going to deal with those for this. You've got these bluish purple, indigo maybe backed cards. They're the goal cards, as they say. The insert suite holds everything. It's just kind of hard to get the cards out sometimes because the wells are like perfectly fit to the cards. Depth as well. So yeah, we got this indigo backed cards. These are the goal cards. You'll shuffle this deck up obviously, and then you're going to draw a certain number of these depending on what difficulty you want to play at. The starter difficulty will be 12 cards. Okay, so we do 12 cards. Boom, you're going to set those out by the board. You can put the rest of those back in the box. You're then going to get these hazard tiles, the ones with the little yellow signs with the skulls and crossbones on them. And you want to separate those out. They're all the same front and back. You just want to make 5 piles of those with 3 of these tiles in each pile. Same thing, leave those by the board. The reason we're doing this is because the game is played over 5 rounds. And each round, at the start of each round, you're going to be placing these hazards onto the board, and they'll block spaces to where you won't be able to place tiles on the board wherever they're at. So we got those. Next, then you're going to take all of the tiles out of the game. If you're watching this before you've played the game and you're going to play it, all these tiles come in like a plastic wrapped thing. There are 2 pieces on each tile. I was milliseconds away from snapping these in half when I opened the box because I thought that they were just supposed to be squares. And I was looking at the rule book and I was like, there's no instructions for breaking these apart. Why didn't they just fully snap these? And then I finally just put 2 and 2 together and was like, oh, they're supposed to be 2. So if you're opening your game, don't break these in half. You'll ruin the game. But you take all the tiles and you just want to put them in a face down stack, not a stack, but a pile of the tiles face down, mix them all up as best you can, right by the game board. And then we've got these 2 dice. You'll want to have those handy as well. Those are all of the components for the game. So what you're going to do is we're going to draw from the indigo deck here. The goal cards are going to draw 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. And they each say different things. Match the pattern. It shows you a pattern. So that's a hazard in the middle, and then these 4 yellow ones around the outside. So your goal here to get this card complete is to make that pattern on the board here. If at the bottom it has that little black bar, that tells you that if you make this pattern, wherever those hazard tiles are, you'll be able to remove those from the board once you've made this pattern. So you surround one of these hazards with 4 of these yellow like this. At the end of the round, boom, take those hazards off. So you're always going to have 5 cards out here unless you run through the deck. So we got our 5 cards. Next thing we're going to do is take the first stack of those tiles. We're going to take the 2 dice, roll them. We got red 4, blue 4. So then on this board, the red numbers are over here, the blue numbers are along the top. Go to 4 and 4, put a tile. Roll them again. We got 2 and 1. Boom and boom. And then last, we got 5 and 3, 5 and 3. So those are placed. If you happen to roll numbers where there was already one of these tiles on the board, you're just going to take that. You're not going to place a tile. You're going to just put it off the it's out of the game. It says back in the box, but I don't ever keep my box around mid-game. Usually I have those put away. So put the tile back in the box if you roll the same thing, or just put it off to the side. Then you can put the dice back. You don't need them for the rest of this phase. Next, you're going to want to have a timer. Use your cell phone, a kitchen timer, a clock, I don't know, whatever you want to use, your watch. You're going to set the 60-second timer on it, and then you're going to play each round over 60 seconds. What you do, once you start the timer, you're going to pick up one of the tiles from the stack, look at it, and then place it onto the board. You can't pick up another tile until you've placed the one that you picked up. Once you pick up one, you have to place it. So you're going to, starting when there's nothing on the board, you have to place it so it's connected to the city hall. That's the center of the map here. And you can place it any way you want, horizontal, vertical. So we place it touching that, and then we can go ahead and we can draw another tile. After that first tile's been placed, you can either place it connected to the city hall, or it has to be orthogonally adjacent to any other tile that you've placed. So you can place them like so. You can place it like this. You can place it like this, but you wouldn't be able to place them corner to corner if there wasn't other tiles touching them. And you cannot place them over the hazard spaces either. So we're placing the tiles. You're trying to make these patterns that are on your goal cards. Once the 60 seconds is up, if you have a tile in your hand, you are allowed to place it. After that, no more touching the tiles. Check to see if you made any of the goal card patterns on the board complete. If you did, go ahead and remove the card, put it into your successful pile. And then again, like I said, if there's that black bar across the bottom, you'll be able to remove those hazard tiles depending on if you made the pattern. So we'll say we remove these, and we got 2 of these done. Next thing we're going to do now is remove all of the tiles that you placed from the board, put them back into the stack, mix that stack back up good, and then we're going to refill our goal cards. You want to have 5. So we have 3 left over that we didn't complete. We'll draw 2 more to make it 5. Again, check what your new goals are. This is cooperative, so you might want to discuss, hey, we should go for these. Maybe we can get these purples and try to build them down around these hazards and maybe work on the greens over here, something like that. Then we grab the next stack of the hazard tiles, same thing. You roll, you place, just like before. And then you set your timer, we hit play. And then you just repeat that. The goal here is to get through all 12 of the cards before the 5th round is over. And then depending on how many cards you have left after the 5th round, you get scored. The best score you can do is getting rid of all of the cards in your stack before that 5th round. So if you do that, then you got a perfect score. That's it. So every round you go, these stacks of tiles remind you what round you're on. Once there's none of these stacks left, you know you're on the 5th round, and hopefully you're finishing up these stacks. Again, to increase the difficulty, you'll just add more cards to this goal deck at the start of the game. I think, like I said, the first one's 12, and I think it goes up to 16 after that. That's as high as we've gone, and we weren't able to beat them all. We've only played 3 times, though. So that's the game. Easy to set up, easy to play. Components, I'm just going to get right into my opinions here, first impressions. This game's like $17.99 at Target. And for $17.99, I think these components are sweet. At first, I thought this was a $30 game, and I was going to say they're pushing it with how simple everything is, but, I mean, the cards aren't anything special, I'll say that. I mean, they're good enough. I've felt flimsier cards in more expensive games. It's just minimal art and everything, but it gets the point across. This board is made of wood, which is cool. Again, we're paying $18 for this. You get a wooden board. And then I think these are the little grid lines are like plastic. They're pretty like sturdy though. This feels good. And then they got like a sticker on the back that has the logo, and then you got the numbers are like painted onto the board, the top and the side. These tiles, they feel good. The only thing that I've noticed, again, we've only played 3 times, and you have to like mix these up. They're painted on or maybe like screen printed. They're not screen printed. They're maybe like transfer taped on or something. Some of the edges of the tiles, the paint's starting to like chip off a little bit. It's not going to affect anything. The backs of the tiles are all white, so you're not going to worry about like knowing what tile it is before you flip it. But once you're flipped over, maybe after a while your board might not look as pretty because the paint might be chipping off the edges. You'll still be able to play the game though. I mean, the dice are dice. Again, components I think are good, especially for the cost of the game. Gameplay itself is super simple. I don't have any 2-player cooperative 60 seconds per round games like this. It's kind of fast and frantic. I think a lot of times with timed games, like, what is it called? Magic Maze is another timed cooperative game. Like, you get so caught up in like trying to do everything fast. At least for me, like, I don't really communicate a lot once I start going. Like, we make a game plan before, but once things go, we're mostly just kind of both doing our own thing, and maybe you'll shout out like, "Hey, we need one more purple over here," and then you're gonna keep going. You only have 60 seconds, and it goes fast. So yeah, it's definitely fun. The strategy, I don't know so much that there's like strategy. It's more, I guess, tactics or whatever. You're making the best out of what you get when you draw from this thing, and trying to come up with the best way to get these patterns as quick as you can. Is it worth buying? Yes. I would say this is definitely worth buying if you primarily play games with 2 players or have someone you'll be able to play with regularly. I mean, technically, I think you could probably even just play this solo if you wanted to. I mean, there's nothing about it that requires you to have 2 players. So if you're a solo gamer and you want like a time challenge little puzzle that you can pick up, setup takes 3 minutes, and then you can have it played each round as a minute. You're playing in 5 minutes, so under 10 minutes you can have a whole experience. Pick it up. I give it my... I don't have a seal of approval or anything. But if I did, bam, pow, wham. Pick it up. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up button, like it, heart it, comment below, talk to me some, subscribe so you can see when we do more videos. And the more you like this stuff or interact with it, the more we know you like the videos, the content, and we'll make more of that type of content. So, thanks so much for tuning in. Have a good day.